Hi, I'm Bradley with Sovereign Games, and I wanted to go ahead and show you how to play our game, Crowns. It's an abstract strategy game. You can kind of think of it like a little bit like chess or Stratego or games like that. So I'll go ahead and start by introducing you to the pieces. Basically, you get 8 total bottom tier pieces. That's your pikeman and your footman. So we're going to start with those. But you're also going to get 4 total mid-tier pieces. These are your mid-tier pieces. And you're going to get 1 of your top-tier piece options. And, of course, you have a crown in crowns. There's a big surprise. Crown here. And let me go ahead and move all these off the board, and we'll start with the bottom tier. Now, these are the simplest units. In fact, the footman moves in the most simple manner possible. It moves 1 space in any diagonal direction. So it can do that at any point in the game. There's no change in rules. It's the simplest piece in the game. The pikeman, also a simple piece, not quite as simple. The pikeman moves 1 space forward or to either side, but it cannot move backwards. That's kind of a liability, but to make up for that, the pikeman has a special ability. It cannot be attacked from the front. So if you want to attack the pikeman from this direction, if you have another pikeman, neither of these pikemen can harm each other. They are completely immune. So that's the pikeman and the footman. Again, you get 8 total of these pieces. Whatever combination you'd like, you get 8. We'll move on to the mid-tier units. This is the cavalry. The cavalry is a fairly simple piece as well, but with its own special rule. It moves 3 spaces on rank and file, that is to the sides and forward and backward, just like a rook in chess, if you know chess. And so it's got this little area that it can cover. However, the cavalry has a special rule, and the special rule for the cavalry is that it can charge through. That is, if there's an enemy piece here, the cavalry can continue moving up to its full movement when it captures, rather than merely capturing as other pieces do by moving onto the space. So, if there's a piece right here, it can move to the space and capture, or it can move past and capture, or it can move past all the way up to its full movement and capture. The question I usually get right about here is, oh, so it can capture as many pieces as it wants, or how many? No, it can't. If your opponent has 2 pieces lined up there, well, it can still capture, but it cannot capture 2 pieces in one turn. So if there's another piece in the way, it just has to stop. It also cannot capture either of these pieces and then move through full movement. Its path is blocked. The horse can't gallop through that many people. So that's the first of our mid-tier units. Let me introduce you to the man-at-arms. Man-at-arms covers a huge area. It moves 3 spaces diagonally. So of course, any of these, when I lay these out, are spaces they can move to until we get to the pieces where that's not true. But just bear with me. So, 3 spaces diagonally, so that's like a bishop in chess, if you play that game. However, the man-at-arms has the ability to change direction after 2 spaces. So it can go 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. Of course, that's true in each direction. And so it gives the man-at-arms a very, very large area of the board that it can cover. So that's the man-at-arms. And we'll introduce our last mid-tier unit. That's the archer. The archer has fairly small movement. Compared to the other 2, instead of 3, it's only got 2. But it can move in any direction. So there's 2 in any direction. This probably isn't really necessary. You can imagine this, but I just like to go ahead and give the visual just in case. So these are the spaces that the archer can move to. However, the archer has this detriment. the archer cannot capture by moving. So if your opponent has a piece, let's say it's their crown, right there, the archer could move to that space, but they can't because it's occupied and they cannot capture. Now what an archer can do is capture by shooting instead of moving. And the way that it does that is that it captures 2 spaces on each forward diagonal and 1 space directly in front of it. So when it shoots to capture, you just take the piece. The archer doesn't move. The archer goes ahead and you just pick up that piece. It's in the archer's firing area. It can capture. It can shoot over pieces. So if they have a cavalry here and you want to take the crown, you can do that. It can shoot over your own pieces. So if you have a cavalry here and you want to take the crown, you can do that. The pikeman rule does apply. So if the enemy has a pikeman in front of the archer cannot capture the pikeman even though he is in the archer's firing area. The pikeman is immune to being captured from the front. So, those are our 3 mid-tier units, the man-at-arms, the archer, and the cavalry. And again, you get 4 of those total. 8 total of the bottom tier, 4 total of the mid-tier. Now let's go ahead and talk about our top-tier pieces. The first of these, the archer, is a nice segue, so we'll go ahead and we'll use the ballista. The ballista moves 1 space in any direction, like a king in chess, and captures that way, just like any other piece. However, in addition to moving and capturing like other pieces, the ballista can also shoot, like the archer. So, the ballista shoots 3 spaces in each forward diagonal, in addition to 3 spaces directly in front. So that allows the ballista, as you see, to control a fairly large area. It's kind of slow, but it is very powerful and it has the ability to capture, like the archer but farther, without moving. So, that's the first of our top tier units. The next is, let's go with the easiest to learn, is the elephant. The elephant I'm not even going to lay out everywhere it can move because it moves 4 spaces in any direction. So I'm just going to lay out a couple of directions here and you can see where we're headed. I'll do 1/4 there. So you can see it moves 4 spaces in any direction, which means from the center of the board it can hit all the edges. It also makes it special in that it is the only unit that can start in your starting area here, and can immediately attack an enemy unit. 4 spaces puts it all the way across no man's land. So, that makes the elephant powerful right there. Moves any direction, 4 spaces, but it has another ability, and that's it has the same charge-through ability as the cavalry. Big Elephant can, in fact, capture this archer and keep moving, or move all the way to there. So, that's the second of your mid-tier units, and it is the, top-tier units, and it's the one that we find to be the easiest to use. It's fairly straightforward, it moves around everywhere, and it's, can charge through. The last is the tower. The tower is also a fairly slow-moving piece, kind of like the ballista, so unlike your mid-tier units, it doesn't actually move very far. It moves 1 space in any direction, just like the ballista. However, the tower may also move 2 spaces in any of the 3 forward directions. There. You see, we liked how it made a little tower in its movement, Maybe that's the reason I'm laying out all of these circles for movement. Basically, it gives you the idea that the tower is easy to push forward, not so easy to pull backward. So, attacks just as it moves. However, the tower has another ability, which is that it has the same ability as the pikeman. It cannot be attacked from directly in front. However, the tower also cannot be attacked from the front angles. So you can't attack the tower from the front 2 diagonals or the directly in front. You have to attack the tower from the sides or the back. And just like the pikeman, that does apply to ballistas and archers. So there are your top tier units. We'll go ahead and we'll cover the crown. The crown moves 1 space in any direction, just like the king in chess. However, unlike the king in chess, the crown is kind of a wuss. This guy cannot capture at all.